I suppose from my time in the military, you are taught to study the ground very carefully, looking for any potential hazards, potential threats, and I suppose that's become part of me, so that when I'm going for a walk, I probably do it naturally anyway. The only advantage is now that I'm going for a walk, I'm not looking for some kind of IED or booby trap. I'm saying, oh, what's this plant growing here? Or is that a mushroom that I might be interested in?
Nathan Bell, a veteran who turned to foraging as a means of finding peace and solace after returning from military service, is among those who have found a way to reconnect with nature. With a family living in the countryside of Font Hill, Nathan's experiences in the army have given him a unique perspective on the importance of connection to the natural world.
Foraging is sort of looking for, finding and identifying and using wild foods, often as food, but can also be for medicinal reasons, and just really taking advantage of nature's bounty, really. My name is Nathan Bell. I'm 51 years of age. As a security contractor, I work for a contract indirectly for the British Embassy, delivering military training to the Lebanese army. I'm incredibly lucky to have grown up in this wild area and always been aware of the varieties of flora and fauna in the environment, and always from a young age going to pick blackberries for pudding until now. And I suppose it's sort of grown out of that deep understanding and interest in my environment around me. You know, being boisterous and you know, a young lad growing up, that outdoorsiness lent me to joining the military. But then being in the military, you've been outside, and now this is just a continuation of that story, if you like, of me, of who I am. Our lives are becoming increasingly technologically reliant, and perhaps this is a regressive gene coming out on us going, actually no, maybe I should connect more with nature, maybe I should understand more about my environment, why things grow like this and how they are. And I think it's kind of a salve in some ways when you've been soaked by IT and the idiot lantern that is our television set, then coming out and taking a walk out in the countryside is kind of a good way to create a bit of balance, you know?
However, Nathan's story is an exception, and plant knowledge is on the decline. The last botany-specific university course in the UK was shut down a decade ago. For every 185 general biology students in the UK, only one student of botanical sciences is produced. One study found that only 14% of A-level biology students could recognise more than 3 species of native plants. It was not always so. Britain had a rich and irreverent culture of plant-based customs. Plants were the basis of popular medicine, and the hedgerow was a healer. Wild plants remained a source of food well into the modernity, relied on especially by Britain's commoners. The decline of this culture occurred on many fronts. Enclosure of common land alienated people from long-standing relationships to its flora. Urbanisation followed, cementing the separation of custom, country, and culture as rural workers migrated to the city to establish new kinds of lives. Novel forms of agriculture also saw flower-abundant meadows ploughed up, devastating our floral diversity. Meanwhile, the medical profession, increasingly influenced by scientific rationality, superseded a medicinal culture rooted in plants. After the pandemic, many realised the importance of getting outside and connecting with nature, and noticing local, possibly edible plants has been a part of that. So much so that Wild Food, a company that runs foraging courses around the UK, stated it had a 25% increase in visitors in 2020. And the Waitrose and Partners Food and Drink Report 2021 showed an increase of 89% social media interest in foraging. And people are embracing it by both sharing and gathering knowledge from others.
So I don't know if people wanted to go towards some of the plants that they think are in the carrot family. You're essentially looking for a carrot-topped kind of plant, so with the leaves that look like a classic carrot top. Please don't eat any just yet.
Maria Fernandez Garcia is on a mission. After training as a herbalist, she founded the foraging school, Healing Weeds, Forever amazed by the incredible plants that live around us, Maria is keen to share her knowledge through her walks and workshops, where she empowers people with the practical skills to confidently make herbal remedies from these wild medicines.
I really want to give people the chance to feel the same kind of familiarity that I feel when I'm outside. So I can be in a completely new place that I've never been to before and look down and there's like a dandelion or a daisy or something, you know, else that makes up the landscape and the kind of mosaic of all the plants, and it makes me feel like really comfortable to know that if need be, like I could use those things, and I think I wanted people to feel that as well, this sense of familiarity, and I feel like it gives like a really direct connection between people and nature. We often in my opinion, we often walk through nature, we experience it really as passengers, watching it go by, appreciating it, but not quite super interactive with it. So I think that's what I hope as well, is to give people a really direct way to physically engage with nature, and not just be an observer. I think it's a mix of people realising after COVID that they really do need green spaces, and that they're noticing that they don't know too much about the plants that are around them. So I think there has definitely been a resurgence since then. It is turkey tail. Has anyone heard of that mushroom before? Yeah? So if you haven't, it's an incredibly medicinal mushroom which supports our immune system. Mushrooms tend to work really holistically on the body, so they work what is called in a way that's called immunomodulating. So they basically can affect basically all the body systems in your body in a really positive way, and including your immune system. There's also a lot of studies which show it supports people going through chemotherapy, specifically with breast cancer. There are various studies that they're doing on it now, but they're finding that it supports the kind of resilience of your body as you go through something quite difficult physically, like chemotherapy or radiotherapy. And they've also, in some other studies, found that it actually boosts the effects and efficiency of chemotherapy. So just all round amazing, super common.
Foraging not only provides medicinal properties and an opportunity to connect with nature, but it also has environmental benefits. Harvesting wild plants can help promote biodiversity by creating habitats for a variety of species. It can also aid in controlling invasive species and restoring damaged ecosystems. By foraging, we can reduce our reliance on commercially grown crops, which often require large amounts of water, pesticides, and fertilisers. This can help lower our carbon footprint and reduce the negative impact of agriculture on the environment. Additionally, foraging can be a sustainable practice when done correctly. Unlike agriculture, foraging doesn't require land use, soil disruption, or the use of fossil fuels for machinery and transportation. By sourcing food and medicine from wild plants, we can reduce our impact on the environment and promote sustainable living. However, it's important to note that foraging should always be done ethically and sustainably. As more people become interested in foraging, there is a risk of over-harvesting and damaging delicate ecosystems. Maria and other foraging experts stress the importance of respecting nature and only taking what is needed. They also advise against foraging in protected areas and sensitive habitats. By practicing ethical foraging, we can ensure that wild plants continue to thrive for generations to come. And by incorporating foraging into our lives, we can support sustainable and regenerative practices that benefit both ourselves and the environment. Perhaps, with the help from those like Maria and Nathan, we can once again appreciate the value of the plants that surround us and reconnect with the natural world.